to Peter and Ruffy's Football Show. We're live on PLZ Soccer's YouTube channel. I'm Peter Martin. Alan Ruff, Alison McConnell and Tam McManus are here with me. Delighted they're all here with me because it was our Christmas party last night, Ruffy. I didn't think anybody was going to make it. I thought I was just going to read the weather out.
Yeah, there were some people stayed a wee bit longer than others.
Yeah.
Not looking at anybody in particular, but as long as you get home safely. Because I worry about you sort of hanging about George Square or lying in somebody's garden.
I have done that on many.
The two certainties that you thought would have been out till late were the first two casualties, me and McGruffy.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. If anything, that tells me that you two are not team players anymore. But in saying that, it was a great night. All the staff there, and of course, Gabs, the badge kisser, the rat. So, yeah, they were there. It was great, good fun, Ruffy. You have to build team spirit, don't you?
Yeah, good food as well. Good speeches, Diane. Enjoyed Dan's yearly speech.
So it was really enjoyable, thoroughly enjoyed it. Well, let's see how this show goes, see how we can give you an opinion on football today. If you want to give us your opinion, you can do in the live feed. All you have to do is quite simply subscribe to PLZ Soccer. Thousands of you have been doing that, and thanks to everyone who's been downloading the app as well in the App Store and in Google Play. You get to watch the programme live as well. So with that in mind, hi to Lee, hi to Derek, who's joined us, Paul Baird, Stuart Ramsey, Nicky Twig, quite a lot of people, Johnny as well with us, Patricia Monroe, Lee Shanley, all the regular people who enjoy the football show. Delighted to have you with us. And let's get into the meat and bones of it, because quite simply at the weekend, it's a weekend now, Ruffy, where everybody's wondering if Celtic are playing on the Saturday or Rangers playing the Saturday, and then one of them plays on the Sunday. The pressure is on, and all eyes were in Dens Park yesterday.
Yeah, they certainly were. I think we've all been on record to say that I think Rangers and Celtic will do particularly well at home this season, or for the remainder of the season. It's away from home they might stumble just a wee bit, and that was evident yesterday. 4 minutes to go. Rangers kept going for it, when all credit to them, but they got the goal when it mattered, and it's the old saying, if you ask anybody, it's 3 points that matter. But you've got to look at the bigger picture. You won't get away with that all the time. You've got to put in some kind of performance, and unfortunately for Rangers, they have a level of performance in Europe which is unbelievable, and then they come back here and they stumble against the bottom team of the league.
Yeah, well, he's got to use his squad, Alison. That's the key to it all. Ramsey comes in. I mean, your favourite player has popped up with a goal as well. He's got to use them, and I think the Rangers fans want to see the Ramseys. They want to see other people contribute, as Ruffy said, because if anything, if you look at the substitutions that are made across the Scottish Premiership now, the big clubs are utilising the squad.
Yeah, I think you need that. I think you need the depth of the squad. When you look at the campaign in its entirety, you're probably looking at around 60 games for some of these players if you're playing regularly. So I think it's important to be able to bring in players who maybe aren't quite so jaded, that can offer something else. I thought Ramsey's goal was an important goal, the timing of it. I think the longer the game had gone on without Rangers getting back onto level terms, and the more anxious the crowd were becoming. So I thought there was always a feeling that if they got themselves back onto level terms, that they would go on and take all 3 points. So I think it's not a vintage goal, but I think it was an important goal, and in the landscape of the title race, I think it could become a fairly big win depending on what happens now.
Yeah, let's get into the sticky points on this one, the ones that drew everybody's attention really, Ruffy, and one of them was the penalty. I mean, I'm gobsmacked that Bobby Madden spotted an infringement in the first place. That was never a penalty.
No,
I
would agree with that. That even in real time, I didn't think it was a penalty. And then when we saw it again, as we get the chance to see it 2 and 3 times, both of them were sort of a tugging at each other's jerseys. Not big tugs, just a sort of a tug that you see in the 18-yard box 9 times out of 10 at corners. You see bigger tugs than that, and you're never getting pulled up for a penalty. But I mean, I'm sure the referee's glad that he missed it, because I think the referee would have come under a bit of stick, But I said that last, he's hitting it too high.
Yeah.
It's fantastic when it hits the top of the net. It's wonderful. It's a wonderful strike, but it's a risky business if you're going to try and hit it that high.
Yeah. A lot of people were saying, Tam, especially on that surface, I mean, why, it's always likely to take a bobble, your footing when you're moving towards the ball as well.
No, listen, I think he's been inch perfect the last couple, and I think if you're going to not have much margin for error, it's got to be perfect. And I think he went for top corner again, and he's just got underneath it a little bit. Just get back to what Ruffy says. For me, it's not a penalty either, because I think if you're going to give a penalty for that, there'll be 5 or 6 penalties a game. Being an ex-striker myself, there's always grappling with a defender in the box. When the ball's about to come in, he gets a hold of you, you get a hold of him, and it's a bit of grappling. I don't think a lot of people were saying it was a foul initially from Morelos. I don't think it was a foul by Morelos. He's tried to get a yard. He's lost his balance. The defender, he's kind of reached behind him. It's not a penalty. It's just 2 guys that are grappling each other and trying to get the ball. So I thought he got that wrong, and luckily for Dundee they missed it. But it didn't matter in the end. Rangers, for me, deserved to win the game anyway.
Yeah. Of course, the point that Ruffy's making there, Ali, I'm not so sure about. I know sometimes you can skate a fine line, but Rangers are champions last season. They know how to do this. They know how to, grind them out, especially away from home. Dundee have been absolutely poor. I thought Rangers would get up there and hammer them, but in the end they found a way to win, and that's what champions do. Yeah,
I think that's the most important thing. I think when you get to this stage of the season, it's about taking 3 points. It's about finding a win, whichever way it comes. I think, ideally you're wanting to go up and put in a performance that matches it, but I think whatever way you get, the win is really all that matters at the minute. I think when you look at how straightforward the cup win was at Dens Park for Rangers last weekend, I think you'd anticipated probably more of the same, but I think too you have to factor in that Dundee are fighting for their life. St Johnstone obviously had a big result on Saturday, and then you've got Dundee just scrapping for every point that they can possibly get. And I think it helps put up a bit of resistance, and I think obviously the early goal helped them too, in terms of having something to hang on to.
I'm afraid to say it, Tam, unless there's some dramatic change, I think they're gone.
Yeah, I think Dundee got relegated. I think they're gone now. I think St Johnstone have got a striker that's going to score goals as well. The boy Callum Henry scored 2 great goals. Dundee were very competitive first half, but they've not got the squad to sustain that. The Rangers were bringing on quality in the second half. It was just a matter of time before they got their noses in front, but I think Dundee are gone, and unless they perform a miracle, it looks as if it's going to be them down in St Johnstone in the playoff.
Yeah. To another issue in the game, Ruffy, as ever, on a Monday, we're never too far away from talking about something that's not to do with or in some way vaguely connected to football, but toilet rolls and tennis balls again up at Dens Park. It's great for anybody who's up at Dens Park who can then head off to a tennis court, because they've got about 300 tennis balls on the pitch. But the message, they're unhappy still about the Sydney Super Cup and playing Celtic in Australia, so they're making their feelings known to the Rangers board. Now, I defend anyone's right to show their displeasure about the way their board, any board, if you're a fan, is acting. That's fine, but are they bang out of order for the way they went about it?
I think they have to listen to their players, and they have to listen to the manager. They're not happy with it. They were saying their momentum was stopped with all this disruption. Alan McGregor, came out very vocal on it as well. He was upset, so it's okay, it's a bit of fun in that, but I mean, if it's going to derail your team for winning the championship, you've got to seriously have a look at yourself and listen to the manager and the players.
Yeah, I think, the point itself, Alison, I think is a ridiculous one. I mean, they can make the point, they can throw the tennis balls, they can throw the toilet roll on. It is utterly ridiculous, this point, about they don't want to go down to Australia and they don't want to be playing Celtic. These fans, and I don't know, I'm not going to quantify them, but I think they're holding back the clubs if they pander to them.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, I think for me it's simple economics. I think it's an opportunity to go and maximise revenue. I think we've spoken about it on here before, about having to market the game every which way you can in order to bring in money. I think the climate that you operate in and the restrictions it gives. I think when it comes to this summer, you'll have fans of both Celtic and Rangers wanting to see their clubs invest in the playing squad, bring players in, keep players that are there on loan. You have to finance that some ways, and I think it seemed to me to be a very straightforward opportunity to go and maximise revenue. I can see where Rangers are coming from. I think it was marketed as Ange Postecoglou's homecoming. I think the danger is, the perception is that they're seen as a sideshow element of it. I think there seemed to be some suggestion that gate receipts were heavily in Celtic's favour. I think that they were going to receive the same participation fee for the tournament, but the gate receipts might not be split the same way. So you can see why they feel aggrieved in that sense. But for the game itself, to me, it was just a very straightforward way to maximise revenue. And you have to remember, it's going to take place at a point when lots of players will be away and preparing for a World Cup. It would probably be skeletal squads it would be going.
Well, from my point of view, I would look at it and say, great, get over there, get the 3 million and take your part in the competition, see if you can win it.
Yeah, I totally agree with everything that's getting said. You know, I think that you've got to look at the economics of it. You've got to look at a club like Rangers, who have had financial problems in the past. You know, to get £3 or £4 million to go down and play a couple of friendlies is brilliant money. So I don't understand why some of the supporters are really angry about it, particularly if Rangers don't get in the Champions League. You know, every penny will be a prisoner. You know, I think they've put a lot of eggs in that basket this season to get in that Champions League money. So I think they'll be trying to, fill holes, if they don't get in that Champions League. So I don't understand it. You know, some of the supporters, entitled to their opinion, but I think the Rangers board and the directors have got to be strong on this and just say, listen, we've got to do this for the sake of the club.
Yeah, I got the tennis ball, but I didn't get the toilet rolls. You know, the tennis ball's been Australia sort of a thing. What was the toilet rolls coming on the park for?
I didn't.
Is that a load of?
I didn't get the tennis balls. What's the tennis balls got to do with Australia?
I thought it was just a way
Australian
to
Open.
disrupt.
What?
Australian Open tennis.
What's that got to do with it? No, what do they do with anything?
Well, that's the immediate thing I thought. They're going to Australia.
What's the Australian Open got?
Well, what was the toilet rolls?
No, I can't even work out with the
Just a
tennis
load
balls.
I think it was just a way to distract.
Yeah, absolutely.
Huh?
Just something.
But why tennis balls then?
Well, tennis balls are not really something
Just
that can
small,
do any
can
great.
carry- can be
Can it do
carried
any
as
great
well.
harm?
Did you honestly think the Australian Open?
Yeah.
Yeah, I did not see that coming at all, by the
mental.
way. Somebody will undoubtedly on this feed tell us about toilet rolls and tennis balls.
I get the
I think
toilet
the
rolls.
danger is, though, Peter, too.
Robert Ronan says the decision is in your court. Well done, Robert. I'm happy with that.
I think the fact that the clubs announced it and the tournament organisers announced it would lead you to believe that paperwork has been signed, and if Rangers don't fulfil the commitment, what you'll probably discover is that there's a penalty to pay.
Yeah,
So it could
£1 million.
£1 million
Yeah.
pounds. So what you're saying is then you're a failure. Not only are you passing up the opportunity to make money, but you're actually losing money out of it.
Yeah, I think it's listen. The tail's wagging the dog at times with both clubs. I think there's a group that have got a voice that, some people can make I have no problem whatsoever with fans making legitimate points. When something they feel they're aggrieved at. Ticket pricing is a huge one that a lot of fans rightly point out to the clubs, and especially when they've committed so much money during COVID. But this is one of these ones where it's a commercial business. You want to make money. It's as simple as that. But listen, it goes on and on. I still think both of them will end up going to it and actually pleasing the majority of fans and the people who'd love to see them down under. And they'll be travelling from near and far. Rangers got the 3 points, still a 3-point difference between the two sides at the top of the table, because on the Saturday, Ruffy, Celtic were emphatic 4-0. Giacomakis with his second hat-trick of the season.
Yeah, again, the first 35 minutes, impressive going forward. Great to watch, and the big man's just in the right place at the right time. He never scores a spectacular goal. His goals, he's there. He's a centre forward. No, he's there.
Do you think he's a 20 goals?
He's there. He'll be 20 good wee goals. Nothing. He's not going to hit a screamer for 30 yards or anything like that. No, he's in there, but he's got a big choice now with the wee man coming back.
Yeah.
Are the two of them a partnership? Because I think Maeda, does a fair bit of shift, assists, running, so it's a great dilemma to have, obviously, but it remains to be seen whether he is the number 9.
Yeah, it's funny you saying that, Ruffy. I'm laughing because basically you know, even now when I'm playing five-a-sides with Ali McCoy, he couldn't care if it came off his ear and it ended up in the back of the net. A goal's a goal. If you want a screamer, go somewhere else. I'll just be in that box firing them in. John Robertson at Hearts used to say the same to me. In the scraps, who cares? If Ruffy's fallen down, spilled the ball, I'll stick it in the back of the net. You still get the same cheer.
Absolutely. I mean, that was a part of my problem. I hit shots for 25, 30 yards. I'd never get the tap-ins because I was always outside the box. You know, if I could go back and change it now, I'd try and get across the 6-yard box more, but I always try to come outside the box and take part in the game. You get strikers who want to do that, and you get your strikers who they don't care. They just want to get in the 6-yard box and they just want to score goals. Chris Boyd's another example, you know, of a guy who just played in the 6-yard box. And you know, I think Giacomakis has got that a bit about him. I don't think he's very pretty on the eye to watch, to be honest. His touch, everything, he's okay, but when that ball comes in the box, he gets across people and he gets his goals. And if he keeps banging in goals, you know, at the rate he's doing now, the Celtic fans will love him.
Yeah, well, that's 12 for the season. I have to say, he puts in a shift. He absolutely grafts.
I think everyone in that team does. I think it's a stipulation of a starting jersey is that you go in and you work your socks off. So Maeda tracking back to get a ball in the 89th minute in Saturday. Celtic are 4-0 up and he's working his socks off to go and take a loose ball, and I think it probably sums up the attitude and the culture that Ange Postecoglou has just tried to instill in there.
Yeah, of course you did mention there, Robbie. I'm curious to find out, he likes a 4-3-3, so I'm curious to see if he's, I think when Kyogo comes back, the one lesson he will learn, which is a stonewall certainty, Robbie, if Kyogo in some way comes back for the game against Rangers at Ibrox coming up, there's no way he's playing him left of a 3 because he's learnt that lesson from the game at Ibrox. He's definitely going to play a middle, and then you look and you say, well, of the 3 who are up front, does he actually put Giacomakis in one and Jota on the other?
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see the stats in Celtic, how many balls come into the box with wide areas in 90 minutes. You know, because that's where they do all their damage. They get the ball wide as quick as possible, and the wide man just fires balls into the box. And Tam will tell you, you know, when you train Monday to Friday, that's all they must be doing in the practice. You know, and just get the ball wide, get it into the box as quick as possible. Movement in the box. Don't think the big mans get the same movement as the others, but if he keeps scoring goals and his confidence high, you've got to seriously think about picking him.
Yeah, would you? I mean, there's a big question. Would you throw him in, Tam?
Kyogo? No, not for me. I don't think so. I think you just you're playing the now. I think you have Jota and Abada and you have Giacomakis and you've maybe get Kyogo to come on. I think, you know, I don't think Giacomakis deserves to be dropped the way he's playing at the minute. He's banging goals and he's doing his job. And I think Kyogo's still got to work his way back into full fitness. So I think it's a great problem for Postecoglou to have guys like that on the bench. He's got David Turnbull coming back as well, so he's got plenty of options now. So I don't think there's any excuse for kind of squad depth at Celtic.
Yeah, well, listen, they were confident, didn't have any problems with Ross County this time around. They weren't relying on any late winner as they were up at Dingwall. And as well as him scoring, Maeda popped up with a goal as well. Their overall play was impressive yet again at Allison, and I think it bodes well for them going into this game, because I think, you know, we were talking about the form of Rangers with Europe getting into the game, but they don't seem to go through the same gears and the same quality when it comes to going domestically. Whether they're tired or not, I don't know. I mean, it must take it out of them, but is that an excuse that Giovanni Van Bronckhorst will look for?
I don't think he will, no. But I think I would take your point. I think Celtic have looked very composed in recent weeks. I think that 10 goals across their last 3 games, I think they've looked as though they've got a bit of swagger about them, they've got a bit of confidence about them. They're swatting teams aside that had been problematic for them earlier in the season. I'm thinking about Livingston, Dundee United, Ross County, 2 teams that they dropped points again, one that they struggled against and needed that 97th minute up in Dingwall. I think they look as though they're in the best possible shape that they could be going into the game at Ibrox, and that's before you counter the likes of David Turnbull going back in, the possibility of Kyogo Furuhashi being fit, maybe not for that game, but for the run. I think you would say that Celtic look in good shape, and the concern, of course, for Postecoglou will be that it changes this week when you've got so many players who are all out in international duty. I'm sure you're maybe watching some games through the cracks in your fingers and hoping that nobody comes back injured. And I think earlier in the season they were hindered by that issue when Kyogo came back from Japanese duty and he was injured, and I think there was 1 or 2 knocks elsewhere. So, but I think just now in terms of how they play as a team, they look as though they're oozing confidence. They look very assured.
Yeah. Was it a red card, just out of curiosity, Ruffy, in that
Not
game?
Not for me, no.
No?
No, I don't think it was a lunge. I think it was just, he went in 100%, and I thought he got the ball first. It looked like that, and I can see why the referee might have done it with the roar that went up afterwards, but not for me.
Yeah.
No, it wasn't for me, but I think maybe what shaped the decision was what had happened maybe a minute or a minute and a half beforehand, where he'd escaped unpunished for a what looked like a foul and maybe a booking. And I think then when you have another one that comes hard on its heels, you give the referee a decision to make, in particular then when you've got the crowd.
Yeah. I can hear a million and one people saying, no, we're not having that, because a referee's got to try and isolate himself into every decision deserves, you know, the integrity of what happened in that decision rather than what's gone before. Although human nature tells you that's the way referees do sometimes go. They look and they say to themselves, wait a minute, this guy said 3 or 4 of them all across the park. But is it a red card?
I don't think it was a red card. I don't think it was really reckless. I think the lad James Sands had a pretty similar tackle yesterday for Rangers against Dundee. He came through the boy, he got a yellow card. I just think the roar of the crowd, you know, being at Parkhead and Ibrox myself, you get into a tackle, you know, there's 50, 60,000 baying for a red card, and sometimes the referees can buckle, and I thought the referee was very quick to get his red out. No, it wasn't a red for me.
Yeah, okay. Celtic pick up the points, and it's still 3 points the gap. I'll tell you one thing, Ruffy. I mean, I don't think Rangers played well up at Dundee, but they got the result. And I think Giovanni Van Bronckhorst will probably feel, looking at the game, okay, there's now an international break, chance for everybody to get fully fit. Ramsey's got another game under his belt. He's got a dilemma now. Let's pick a strong 11 at home with the advantage of making a real go of it and putting on a display. I can't call this one. I think it's going to be really, really difficult to call.
Yeah, I think it will as well. I think if all the Rangers players are fit, you probably could pick that 11, you know, because you generally, if they are all fit, that's his best 11 that he plays all the time. Same back four, goalkeeper up front as well, midfield. It'd be interesting to see if you think Ramsey's up for this one. But no, it's going to be a cracking game. It's going to be brilliant. You know, that we've seen games where we think they're going to win and then it turns. So if you were asking me right now what way I think it'd go, I would sit on the fence and say a draw. Yeah,
it's a tough one to call. The one thing I would say about it though, and if Ramsey is fit and he's getting his fitness up, he's a top drawer player. He should be straight in. This game is tailor made for him. It's big game players, as Charlie always says in here. Big game players playing the big games.
Yeah, well, this is why he was brought to the club. You know, he was brought to the club for games like this. You know, for me, the league title's on the line. You know, the Rangers need to win. I think if Celtic win, Celtic won the league. Even a draw would suit Celtic. I think Rangers have got to win the game. So yeah. I think if Ramsey's fit, he's got to play. But I think the break has came at perfect time for Rangers. I think they've had a lot of games recently, very busy schedule. I think Van Bronckhorst will give a few guys, you know, maybe a few days off to rest and recover, and they'll be ready and flying to go in that Old Firm game.
But it's true, that Alisson said, it'll be interesting to see how many are away in international duty for both teams. Who would have the most away?
Yeah, well, Maeda's pulled out. I think he said his fitness is not what it should be. I like that line. I mean, a lot of them are friendlies, so you can understand some managers are saying, look, you know, have a little knock and don't go. Yeah,
that's not though. Those are pretty big qualifiers that they've got, World Cup qualifiers, so I'm sure he must have, I don't know if he picked up an injury on Saturday or if there's a knock or something, but it took me by surprise.
Yeah. He suggested his fitness wasn't up at a level that
fitness issues
worthy of fitness issues. Well, what, with all due respect, what are fitness issues? I'm not fit enough.
Looks as if he could run a weekend.
I didn't see anything wrong with him at all, you know. Yeah. You're sitting next to a man in an era where they pulled out for any reason whatsoever. They couldn't be bothered to go and play. Not you.
No, I actually played against Austria over in Austria with a hole in the side of my boot because a horse had stood in my foot before I went away.
Yeah, I've never really heard that before, Tam, of you.
John Steen made me play.
Yeah.
He said, we'll just cut a hole in your boot and I'll take the pressure off where the horse stood in your foot.
There you are.
Neighbour.
That's a tight one. Honestly, you really are. Last week we were talking about transferring him to one show. Now I'm quite happy to do a Bosman and let him just go. He can just go to Graham Spears. It's a bonus for us, by the way. We just sit the mannequin in there.
Similar intellects anyway.
Yeah, yeah, you're right there. That'll get back to him. Anyway, apart from anything else, it's too close to call. Even this far away from the game, you can give us your views. How do you see this one going? 3 points the difference. Rangers have to win, says Tam McManus at Ibrox, to keep their hopes of retaining the title. What do you think of that call? Anyway, apart from anything else, good to watch both of them going head for head at the top. It's great because we've got a race. It's really close, and it's two teams that are finally balanced. That's what we love about this race.
Well, we've got 3 games now, 3 Rangers Celtic games coming up, and I'm sure most of the neutrals, although they might say, oh, we're not really interested, it's always a game you want to see, because it always adds something, a wee bit of spice, a wee bit something to talk about, and I think they'll be really good. I think both of them, are nearly playing to the top for them, so I think we're going for some crackers.
Yeah, absolutely. I like Old Firm games if you've got two good teams going at it, and you've got players on there that can make something happen. They're special players. I didn't really enjoy the times when Ronnie Dyler was the manager. I didn't get the same edge in the games, and Rangers were far from it. They're absolute where they are now. They were off.
Cup defeat more or less cost him his job.
Yeah, absolutely.
To Rangers,
you're right, but I didn't get that same. I don't think he got it, and I didn't think he got the best out of the players that he had at those Old Firm games. And if Rangers had been where they are now, it would have been a totally different title race, and even Aberdeen in my book.
Yeah, I think so. I think you're talking about different sets of circumstances at times. I'm not sure there was the same tension within games that there is now. I think when there's only 3 points of a difference at the top, and it's turned since the turn of the year, then I think there's so much riding on the outcome of this game. I agree with Tam. I think Rangers have got to go and win it. I think a draw would suit Celtic entirely, knowing that the next game is at Celtic Park on their own turf. I think Celtic, the way that they play, they'll never set up going for a draw, but I think Rangers need to win it. I think Celtic, a draw would absolutely suit where they are just now.
Yeah, okay. What about Pittodrie? Aberdeen, suddenly. I don't know about you, Tam, but I sense the change is a-coming. I looked at the starting 11 for Aberdeen, and the first thing that was screaming out at me, legs.
Yeah, I thought Aberdeen were excellent, actually. I thought they played really well. 4-3-3, middle of the pitch to win the game. Ferguson, young lad Conor Barron, who was outstanding, and Ross McCrory. I thought the three of them dominated Hibs in there. They were lively in the wide areas. Ramirez were up front. Bezuja won. The little wide man that scored the second goal was excellent. So I thought Aberdeen thoroughly deserved to win the game. I thought Hibs were poor. I thought, from the minute one, they just didn't look at it. A couple of decisions maybe went against them, but for me, Aberdeen deserved to win it, and it puts Hibs in a real, precarious position at the minute because they've got 2 games left. Dundee United at home and then Hearts at Tynecastle, and they might have to go to Tynecastle and win to get into the top 6. And you can imagine Hearts, all over the supporters, Hibs going there to win to get into the top 6. So listen to you're talking about Celtic Rangers games. There could possibly be 3 Edinburgh derbies coming up as well, and that's going to be huge for both managers.
Yeah, absolutely, because there's nothing like a derby to get the fans against you, heighten the unrest, the displeasure, Ruffy. It's a strange thing, but a manager who must have a long-term view and be allowed to build his side, you get into a derby match and you lose it, and suddenly you think the walls are caving in.
Yeah, and I think that's the same with any derby, doesn't matter where you are, if it's Dundee, Edinburgh or Glasgow. But I was a wee bit anxious with Sean Maloney now, knowing the rules of the game off by heart. Every decision, said the referee got it wrong. And maybe they should the managers should go to these referees meetings and watch the videos of why they make decisions, because I think sometimes they don't actually know the exact rules of the game.
Yeah, well, he got a good start, Tam. I mean, they got an own goal, so there was a chance for them to build on that. They weren't able to do that, and then suddenly Aberdeen get 2 penalties. Now, Porteous, I mean, it's a stone waller. It was just not. I can't even believe they're thinking about appealing it.
No, listen, initially the Ramsey own goal was a shocker. He had a terrible game. He had a nightmare, actually, that young lad. I know he's Aberdeen are wanting big money for him, but he was terrible. Scored the own goal. The first penalty kick, I think it's a penalty. You know, it comes off Cadden's knee, I think, and just, you know, Rocky moves his hand out. It's a penalty. He moves his hand out in an unnatural position, so it's a penalty kick for me. I know Sean seemed to be indicating that it came off Rocky's knee onto his hand, but I didn't see that. You know, I thought it just came off of the Cadden, so I think that was a penalty. And then the second one, you know, it's a definite penalty kick. You know, is it a red card? Did he make a genuine attempt to get the ball? Possibly, but if Hibs appeal it, they've got to prove that he made a genuine attempt to get the ball. I don't think you can on that tackle. You know, Porteous will argue that he did make a genuine attempt to get it, but it's a penalty kick, red card, probably right. So I don't think those you know decisions really went against Hibs. I thought they were called correctly by the referee.
Yeah, 10 red cards this season.
Yeah,
it's not good, is it?
No, it's not good. That's not good discipline for any club. Listen, there's probably some of them in there that you could argue, but 10 red cards, you know, Hibs keep going down to 10 men. You know, it's not giving them an opportunity, so they've got to sort that.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, Aberdeen. Suddenly, you can start to see. I can see the changes, and I like Jim Goodwin. I like him as a coach. I think there's something about him. He's certainly going to get hard work out of the players, and you know, if you get a situation where you can bring through some young talent as well as being able to go out and scout some more, I think there's better times ahead for the Dons.
Yeah, and I think there was a few interesting asides from his conversation just before the game about players needing to reach a certain level of fitness before they're going to be anywhere near his squad. And you know, I'm thinking about
that was a blow for Jet, wasn't it?
Emmanuel Thomas. When you're thinking, you know, it's a real wake-up call. I think, you know, Peter, you and I have dealt with managers and press conferences for many years. It's very unusual for managers to name a player publicly like that. I think it maybe gives you an indication of just how frustrated he's been at the perception of not being fit enough to play, and I think it just raises a standard though across the club in terms of, you know, you need to put the hard yards in if you want to start and feature at the weekend.
Well, the last time I can recall someone actually coming out and having, you know what I'm going to say, don't you? The last time was obviously Brendan Rodgers just comes out and said he needs to show more professionalism in how he lives his life off the park and how he plays on the park, you know, and that's the clearest one I can remember, Ruffy, from the last few years, about a manager openly saying this is why this guy's not being considered.
Yeah, but it won't just be them. There's players like that in every club. You know, it doesn't matter what club you're at, you know, and you're looking at the player himself, because when you go out training and you do the fitness training, you know the level of fitness you're at. You know, and if you've got guys who are really beasting it and really looking after themselves, you do stand out, you know, more than anybody if you're not giving 100%. So it's up to the individual for me to say, look, I'm a wee short here. I need to get my act together and I'm going to be out the door.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, what about Hearts? 2-0 against Livingston. Now, there are, I don't know if you agree with me on this, Tam, 3 major contenders for goal of the weekend. And there was one in this game because Barry Mackay's goal is as sweet as you would want to hit a ball inside the box. And I think, you know, his body's turned in such a way that there's a bit of his back to the goal as well when he swings at it. It's a great goal. Yeah,
a great goal. Really surprised. We were speaking about it earlier, that it was his first goal for Hearts. You know, I think he's had umpteen assists. And every time I see Hearts on the highlights, he's at the heart of everything that they do. He's very, very talented. He's been a great signing for them, actually, and he gives them a little bit of X factor in the final third. But brilliant goal, great volley. Hearts, by all accounts, totally deserve to win the game, and they've got third place tied up. They'll just be looking now to keep momentum up for the semi-final against Hibs.
Yeah, I can't wait now, Ruffy, because suddenly you've got a situation where Hearts are so comfortable in third position that the excitement that they want for the fans is win the Edinburgh Derby, you're in a cup final as well.
Well, at this moment in time, they're favourites. There's no doubt about that. The goalkeeper, defensively, Boyce up front, Sims, Barry Mackay, they're players on form, whereas with Hibs it's maybe 1 week top notch, next week no, somebody getting sent off, results no going. So if it was to happen next week, I think Hearts would be stone one favourites.
Do you agree with that, Ali?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
I think so. I think the form's been sustained over the course of the campaign. I think compared to the campaign that they had last year, when I it felt quite stuttering. I think it's been extraordinary. I think they'll be very satisfied with the season that they've had.
Yep.
The two Edinburgh Derby results this season?
Yeah.
0-0.
0-0. I knew you were going to say that.
2 0-0s.
Yeah.
So if we get a goal, we'll be happy.
Yeah. When I was in Edinburgh, Ruffy, there was a period where Hibs couldn't win a derby, and there was a run of boring 0-0s that you would not believe. Just stalemate after stalemate. It was absolutely turgid stuff, but I love the Edinburgh Derby a lot. I know.
I wasn't in any of them.
No, I know.
Clean sheet for Ruffy, no chance.
Ruffy was always the ones that the goals are flying in everywhere, but when it's bouncing, and of course when you get the goals in, it's a great derby to be at, you know. I think both stadiums have their own unique style of atmosphere, but I think Tynecastle for me just edges it, Ruffy, on the basis that it's just a wonderful cauldron, all enclosed.
Yeah, but I think Easter Road's like that now as well.
Yeah.
I think with the way they've done the stands and that, I think if it's full to capacity, depending on how many Hearts supporters get in, I think it can be just as good an atmosphere. I think it's a good playing surface. Well, at this stage of the season, maybe not, but I think it's a good amphitheatre. I think it gives you, if you're watching it, you're saying to yourself, God, that looks great to be playing on. For when I was there, it was just the big, the wall at the back and no stand and all that. You know.
I can remember I think the only 0-0 I was ever involved in Edinburgh Derby was at home, and Mixu Patalini had a penalty in the last minute. Don't you remember this? He had a penalty in the last minute to win the game, and he tried to dink the goalkeeper, and he dinked it over the bar, right? And Mixu was a monster, so I was on the bench, and we were on 900 quid to win, so I was raging, right? And they came in and all the boys, if there's anybody else, they'd be going, what are you doing? Just put it in the net and all that. And nobody said a word to him. Lucky Mixu. Well up next time, big man.
Yeah, well done for trying it anyway.
Tried it, lucky.
Absolutely.
Who did it in the semi-final or a final at Hampden?
Cummins,
that's what dinked it out of the bar. So.
Yep. Livingston haven't won at Tynecastle in 20 years, by the way. They've had a couple of shakies. I don't think anything will tarnish Livingston's season. David Martindale will want to win as many of the games all the way to the end of the season, but he's just had so many highs this season. I think it's just been great for them.
Yeah, I think they recovered themselves. I think the early weeks of the campaign were quite difficult, and then they managed to stabilise, and they're such a difficult team to predict.
Yeah.
I think Livingston, they're at one, I think, very difficult to play against on their own turf, and I think they work very hard just to make life difficult for the team that they're playing against.
Yep. St Johnstone, Motherwell, what a strike. If you want to score a volley with your left peg tam, Callum Hendry's winner was just spectacular, wasn't it?
oh, brilliant goal. Scored 2 great goals. His first goal was a great goal as well. So was Van Veen's. It was 3 good goals in the game.
Yeah.
But what a blow that is for Motherwell. They're in a bad run at the minute. Obviously, like the Tam Cowan last night, he's not happy. But
Yeah, but do you remember what he said last week? If any club's going through a bad run and they want to...
in the last minute as well, and it's a wonder goal. But no, I think that's a massive result for St Johnstone. A huge result for them. They'll now be looking, can we put 2 or 3 wins together and maybe pull somebody else back into the reckoning. But at the minute, they're just concentrating and pulling clear a Dundee, and 4 points is a pretty big gap at the minute, because Dundee don't look as if they're going to pick up anything at the minute.
Apart of the Rangers, Celtic and Hearts and St Johnstone and Dundee, every manager that get interviewed after the game had the same aspect. There's 2 games to go, we could be top 6. Nobody was talking about going down the way. Every manager got beat, like Motherwell got beat.
Yeah.
If we win our next 2 games, we could be top 6.
It's 4 points,
quite right.
It's 4 points
quite
between
they could
4th and 10th, I think.
Yeah.
Aberdeen have just, obviously, the results brought them back into it.
It'll just transform, people's mindset if you suddenly can, get those 2 wins. I know, Stephen Robinson has been talking about that as well, and Graham Alexander is definitely talking about it. I don't know, a sense, just a little bit of, there's a murmur in the background of unrest at the moment. You know, it was all going great guns for Graham Alexander, but some of the fans are becoming a little restless. I don't know if you sense that too, Ali.
Yeah, I think it's inevitable when you're on the kind of run that they are just now. I think they look like a team bereft of confidence too. I think they had an indifferent start. They had a difficult summer, and then started the season fairly well, and then have dipped again. But yeah, I think a club like Motherwell, I think they should be aiming for top 6, and I think that they've set a fairly high bar in recent seasons.
Yeah, nice to see Sean Rooney back for St Johnstone, but for Motherwell, I wonder if actually Graham Alexander fancies Stephen O'Donnell at all. I think Stephen O'Donnell, you know, I get the sense that he feels as if he's not his cup of tea.
Yeah, possibly. He's not really been a regular. He's dropped him. I think he dropped him against Hibs and played Mugabe right back, and that lasted about a minute. That decision. So, no, you're right. He's been in and out of the team. He's been a stalwart for Motherwell over the last few years. Captain, you know, plays every week. Scotland squad.
But I think
so I don't know if there's maybe
positive, Tam. Do you
I think he's a good. I think he's a good player.
Yeah.
I think he's a good, experienced player. So maybe there's been words behind the scene, or maybe they've had a wee fallout or whatever. But I would think he'd be in the team every week if he was fit.
Yeah, St Mirren 1, Dundee United 2, another late winner. Dundee United got it this time, Ruffy, but I can only marvel at the strike from Jay Henderson. What a goal that was for St Mirren.
It seems to be with these balls that they're playing with now. If you can strike, you can strike a ball properly.
They're always defending the goalies.
No, I'm saying that if you can strike it properly, there's movement in them. They're definitely, and it was a wonderful strike. And I'm not saying it wasn't a good strike. All I'm saying is if you have the ability to strike a ball like that, you can't stop it.
Yeah. Did you feel as if there was the same type of movement in the balls for Winton Roofer, maybe his shot, or Zico, or anybody like that? No.
Just your position.
It was they tango balls. I hated them.
Oh, they're brilliant. They did this tango. They were the best balls.
We come back for Argentina, and I hated them. And I told Ali McLeod, I hate their balls. We went to play Aberdeen. It's a Mitre multiplex you're supposed to play with. You throw on a tango. They started the game. I can't believe that. And he's looking at me going...
Good stuff. Good noise up. Jack Annick sent off for smashing Tony Watt outside the box. Did he smash him? Should it have been a red?
I didn't think it was a red, to be honest. Yeah, I thought it was a foul. I'm not sure if it was severe enough for the red.
That's me.
Yeah, Ruffy.
It was a foul.
Yeah.
Tony Watt fouled the St Mirren defender.
The goalkeeper?
No, the defender. He pushed the defender out the road before he hit the goalkeeper.
Yeah?
Yeah, it was a foul. Stonewaller.
Oh, I didn't see that.
So it wasn't even a foul for the St Mirren.
It was a foul for St Mirren.
Yeah.
Because Tony Watt actually barged the centre half out the road. Yeah, but it'd been a foul. They should have blown for a foul. The foul on the St Mirren defender.
A small foul on Schumacher.
Yeah.
Back in.
No, that was horrendous.
I was going to say,
have a look at it next time we go.
Have a look at it.
I'm not leaving here till you have a look at it. Sometimes you think I see things that nobody else.
Yeah, exactly. I'll tell you what, I sometimes communicate with Ali telepathically, and the minute you open your top there, he's looking at me as if to say, what is he rambling on about? No. Anyway, one other thing that I think is well worthy of a mention is our old friend Tony Fitzpatrick is retiring at the end of the month. And I think there was a nice banner from the St Mirren fans. You know, what a player he was. I thought he was a fantastic player. But of course, he's been chief executive. I think he's held so many roles at St Mirren. He was just a legend. It was the best way to sum him up.
Yeah, the player for me, absolutely fantastic. And a fantastic St Mirren team with lots of other wonderful players. But a lot of people won't know this, but me and you know this.
Yes.
That he actually writes books.
Yeah, he does write books as well.
Baba Gucci Bear.
Yeah,
absolutely. Well done. Yep. The other thing I would say that a lot of people don't know, and some of the younger viewers who watch the programme would probably look and go, you're kidding me on, but when Tony Fitzpatrick played for St Mirren, they were playing in Europe regularly. Yeah. They had some side. You wonder what Fergie would have done with that St Mirren side had the board not bulleted them. I mean, they were a really good side. Campbell Money, Tony Fitzpatrick.
Scanlon,
Do you remember a guy called Jackie Copeland?
centre half, yeah.
Really good player. Scan, fantastic. Starkey, McAvenny, Frank McDougall.
Yeah, it was amazing. And
What a team.
And that team just get disbanded. You know, they get poached by all the different teams, and they were an excellent side when they were all together.
Yeah, absolutely. Did you remember any of them? You're looking at me.
Was that a word? Was that
No, he makes them
Dispatched.
up. It's-
Dispatched.
disbanded?
Dispatched.
So they all get disbanded.
Dispatched.
Yeah, they all get.
Disbanded, no word, no.
It is, but not in that
No,
sentence.
I think you dispatched and disbanded in there at one point. Never mind, Ruffy. At the end of the day, it's your own language, son. We're quite happy with it. Every now and then, just a wee silence as everybody stands and thinks, what's he just said? Here's an interesting one, Ali. Scott Brown training with Dunfermline. Do you think he's thinking to himself, there's maybe one more year somewhere at lower level?
Yeah, I thought that was quite interesting too. I think Dunfermline would be delighted if he wanted to offer his services. I'm not sure if it's maybe just a local club in terms of keeping himself fit and ticking over and then assessing what options he's got come the summer. I think he's in the enviable position that he doesn't need to make a decision quickly. I think he'll maybe just want to tiptoe carefully about what comes next and just assess what options he has, because I think there'll be a number of offers over the summer. I think he's probably just maybe wanting to keep himself fit. Yeah,
it'll be interesting to see if he does decide to do that. We may as well just say, do you see him doing it for a year?
No, I just think he gets him out of the house. I think he's got 3 young boys, and I think he's best pals with Stephen Whittaker. They'll just travel in with him in the morning, they'll pick each other up, and we'll get in and train. I don't think he'll play again. I think he'll retire at the end of the season.
Yeah, just look for that coaching job.
I think so. I just think he's in just to keep himself ticking over.
Did he have a chance to go to Australia before he went to Aberdeen?
Yeah, Western.
Did he go over and...
No, I just thought, as I said, he's got 3 young boys. I just think that they didn't want the upheaval of the other side of the world. I think he was wanting to stay here, but maybe, does he regret it? I don't know, but it was an opportunity there for him.
One of your old teammates as well. I thought this was a rather sad story I was reading at the weekend. Kevin Thompson, manager of Kelty Hearts, and he got a fair bit of abuse, obviously sectarian in nature, in the clash with Elgin City. I think somebody was giving him absolute pelters non-stop, which again, especially with Kelty Hearts Elgin, it's not exactly difficult to pick out somebody who is constantly abusing a manager. Surely somebody should go in and arrest them. I mean, I'm not saying there's a lot of police there, but there may be 1 or 2.
I think it's embarrassing. I think it just shines a light on a problem that has resurfaced again, and not that it's ever gone away, but I think it's been particularly prevalent in the away support of Celtic and the away support of Rangers in recent seasons. And this season, I think since fans have come back, it's been notable. I think.
But society has this problem, Ali, because this is Kelty Hearts against Elgin, and somebody's giving him pelters just because of his association with Rangers.
Yeah,
it's mad.
It's pitiful.
Yeah.
I think it is pitiful, and I think you're going along to watch a game of football, Kelty against Elgin, and this is the abuse that you're taking, and I think you would commend them for speaking publicly about it, because I think that's what it takes. I think you've got to shame people, embarrass people, and do anything you can to offer a bit of self-reflection. I'm not sure if you're of a mind to go and talk to people in that way and use that kind of language. I'm not sure that self-reflection's a strong point, but you would like to think that it might embarrass somebody just to pause for thought.
Yeah, Tom was a good lad.
Aye, that's it order. As you said, it's Elgin v Kelty Hearts, and you're getting sectarian abuse. You know, it's nothing to do with Celtic and Rangers. Just go and support your team, but imbeciles everywhere, to be honest.
Yeah. Scotland call-ups, Ross Stewart, that's a good one, Ruffy. Craig Halkett's in there as well, and your old pal Xander Clark. We've had Xander here on the show, and he's desperate to play for Scotland.
Yeah, I hope he actually plays them. You know, it'd be interesting to see.
Oh, he loves them. You'll love
I
him.
think he's had a great season. I think he said he'd save at the weekend there. You know, that got his team the win. You know, he's been unfortunate that David Marshall's come back in and he was the one that came out. So I would like to see him getting a game, getting a cap. You know, getting something that he can hang on to.
Deserves it for the last couple of seasons.
Certainly does. He does. You know, but Yeah, the boy Stewart, he's been banging them in down south. You know, everybody's talking them up, so give him an ash out. You know, I was looking at the strike. We've only got 4 strikers in the squad, and they're all raving about the boy Jacobs, is it? The centre forward.
Yeah.
So let's see him as well.
Yeah. Under there's a PLZ baseball bat. Could you hand it up to me, by the way?
Well, I missed that one. What was it? Jacobs cream crackers. Is that a cracker?
He's a cracker, honestly. He's really he's like a poor man. He's a poor man's Tom Cowan, isn't he? He really is. It's unbelievable. One worry, Robbo. Is it a worry because it's 2 friendlies if Andy Robertson's not there?
Yeah, not in the same way that it is if it's a qualifier. I think we would all accept that. I think, I think obviously you maybe want to experiment a bit with the team and have a look at different options. Well, not changing it too much, but I think it gives you scope without any real pressure on the outcome. Yeah,
Scotland against Poland on the Thursday, Ruffy, and then of course we're waiting to see Wales, Austria. Whoever loses, I think Scotland will play them in the next friendly.
Yeah, I think that gives the manager a wee heads up, you know, to go and watch that game, you know, to see exactly, you know, I mean, we know how one of them play, but I think it'd be good to go along there and get some kind of, you know, early look. And I don't know who we fancy. Who do we fancy? Who do we want to play? Wales or Austria?
It's such a good point, isn't it?
Austria probably.
I would probably
We've already beaten them.
I would probably prefer Austria. You're right, Tom. I'll tell you another thing that caught my eye was Wales are going to obviously wait as long as possible. I think Aaron Ramsey's a cert to play for them, but Wales are going to wait to give Gareth Bale every opportunity. He didn't play for Real Madrid in El Clasico. He's only played a couple of games.
I was going to say that.
November. I think he's on something like 600 grand a
He's
week.
not playing. I've watched the occasional Real Madrid game. He's unsighted. I think he's totally bombed out there. His contract's up, so I think he'll just be seeing it out. But he's probably got his handicap, didn't he, about 1 now, because I think he plays golf every day.
Yeah.
So it's not bad for getting paid 600 grand a week to play golf.
He's going to get to about 32 years of age, Ruff. He's still got a few years left in him. But he's banked all that money. He's won every honour that you could wish to win with Real Madrid.
Well, we all talk about these teams, not average teams, but teams who have got somebody like him. And if we had somebody like him, you know, I would feel a wee bit more confident in us going further.
Yeah, absolutely. To be fair, Ruffy, if Dukla Pumperson had somebody like Gareth Bale, I'd feel a bit more confident it was all going somewhere with it as well. Anyway, apart from anything else, Wales, big game against Austria. I think Wales might edge it, Ruffy.
Well, you always think home advantage, you know, with your home crowd behind you, you know, that gives you that wee bit of incentive. But I thought Austria were quite stuffy when we played them, you know, so I don't think there'll be much in it at all.
Yeah.
By the way, is Lewandowski coming in Poland? Has he indicated he's coming for this friendly?
Well, I haven't had any notification of it, Ruffy, but if he
That'd
does
be great if
actually
it'd be
come, the
brilliant.
fans would love it, wouldn't they?
Oh, it'd be fantastic. It'd be worthwhile for all young kids to go along and see him.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, just before we go, El Clasico 4-0. Oof, that was a spanking, wasn't it? Aubameyang at the heart of it all.
Brilliant.
as well.
Barca are back. Said that for a number of weeks now. They are back. He's got rid of all the ones he wanted to get rid of. Weeded out all the bad eggs probably, and I think they are bouncing back and they're going to be a force the next few years. They've got some quality players.
Yeah, okay. Interesting stuff there. As far as the FA Cup, Ruffy, Liverpool, Man City, Chelsea, and the surprise package, Crystal Palace.
Yeah, and the draw was Man City Liverpool semi-final.
Was it? I didn't.
know.
No, I didn't hear that.
Well, I
Is that
thought I
right?
saw that in the telly before I come out.
Is that right? Well, if it is, I'm going to look it up now because...
Look it up, please.
No, because I honestly...
Just made that, if he's
Is
just
there
made that
another
up,
cup? Is there not? Is there another cup?
Have you just
Is this
made
the
that
only
up?
cup?
Have you just made that up, Ruffy? Did you just...
Saw it in the telly before I come out.
Yeah? No, I did not see that at all as the draw. We're still waiting on the draw for the cup. You're off your nut, man. Just making things
made it
I'm
up.
going to bring my telly in here and show you while I'm watching.
In the hallucination.
Well, I was going to say somebody will easily tell us if that is the case. That's a good call. What about the other results, Ali? West Ham came crashing back down to earth. Tottenham thumped them 3-1.
Yeah, it was quite an entertaining game actually when it got to 2-1. I thought it was quite it was quite exciting at bits before Spurs just turned the screw again. Spurs are another team you never know what you're going to get. I think you see them sometimes going out and really turning it on, and other games, they don't seem to have much about them at all.
Yeah, can we bow to Ruffy? Apparently it was. You were right.
Is he right? Right, you're right.
Yeah, you're right.
Ruffy.
You're right. I mean, the reason I'll tell you the reason why I wasn't able to tell you what the draw was, Ruffy, because I was absolutely plastered yesterday.
Maybe well done. Because you're up with daily doors.
Do you know what? I came in this morning to the office and I thought, nobody's making it. There's just no danger anybody is coming into the office, because they were all 3 sheets to the wind. And the best thing is, thank you to so many people who have mentioned it's Man City Liverpool. The quadruple is on the line. It's going to be
what
fantastic.
game that would be as well.
Oh, magnificent. I don't know about you, Tam. I know you obviously cadged, as they say, a lift home. But I get into the taxi in the wee small hours of the morning and said hello to the taxi driver, because I know him. He always picks me up in safe places. Just get me out of here, please. And he picked me up, and I said hello to him, chatted, and he always likes to chat about Scottish football, Celtic and Rangers. And then after my first answer, that was it.
You just
Comped.
By the way, you were pretty drunk even at about 9 o'clock, because you're like a toucan dad.
I'm a toucan dad.
And what time did you get taxi at?
Oof, 2:45, Ruffy. Maybe something like that. Was a
you
good,
must have been
good night. Do you know
fantastic.
the only thing that was missing, Ruffy? There was no sing song. We usually have a wee bit of, somebody will do a wee bit of Righteous Brothers, the Drifters, or something like that. There was no sing song. No, nobody did that. And I I ended up 3 sheets to the wind at another party as well, Ali. So you've got to enjoy these moments in life. If COVID teaches you anything, it's get out there, see your pals, enjoy yourself, stay safe. Anyway, apart from anything else, tomorrow we're going to give away an iPad on the programme. Chance for you to win it. You'll need to get your thinking cap on. It's a fairly straightforward competition. I'll show you how you can enter it. You could win yourself an iPad, a wee present ahead of what we hope will be some really good weather coming up. And tomorrow on the programme, Hugh McDonald will be with us, because he was in great form last night. He'll be giving us his insight into the international friendlies coming up. We'll deal with all the stories emerging on the day. But from a team that I'm absolutely delighted made it into the studio for this.
Good professionals.
Absolutely.
Good professionals.
Top drawer professionals. It was absolutely magnificent. Was there ever a wee doubt from yourself, Ali, or were you just always on the...
Very sensible.
Yeah, absolutely. I can't argue with that, Ali, but it was touch and go.
Soberest I've ever seen Ali, to be honest.
Well, Ruffy phoned me and you'll be in big trouble, by the way. Ruffy phoned me and he says, I'm just going to come in, I've got a sore throat.
I know. You were let down last
I'll
night.
make up for it.
Poor
Don't
form
worry
you were
about
in.
it. I'll make up for it.
Yeah, absolutely. Anyway, join us tomorrow if you can. We're on at 4 o'clock. Hopefully Ruffy's throat will be fixed. And if the English Cup semi-final draw hasn't been made, we'll get Ruffy to do it for us. Simple as that. We'll all be back sober tomorrow at 4. Hit the subscribe button if you get a chance. And don't forget also, download the PLZ Soccer app. Thanks for watching.